Hello, my name is Dr. K, and my highest excitement is providing you with the tools, the strategies, and the technologies to help you evolve rapidly as conscious leaders in body, mind, and spirit so we can be the change that we've been waiting for. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone you love, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, this is Dr. Kirkendall, and I want to remind you today of the miracle that your life is. And so I'm sitting out here in the redwood forest, and just like I usually do, I usually just get quiet and I just listen. And I let nature speak by just observing. And when the light came through the trees at a certain moment, what was not visible before was illuminated. And what I saw were thousands and thousands and thousands of these tiny little bugs. Like if you could see behind me, and the camera won't pick that up, but there's these tiny little creatures flying in the sky. And you would look at that and you'd say, well, that's just air. That's just, the atmosphere. But what we don't see is that it's all living and flying and doing whatever these tiny little bugs and probably many, many different species do. And I look down at the water here, at the stream I'm at, and there's thousands of these tiny little bugs that ride on the water, on the surface tension of the water. And you can see them swimming all around here, all of them making their own little ripple and moving around like motorboats and changing directions. They're pretty cool to watch. And it reminded me of when I was in practice seeing patients in a clinic where I would take a drop of blood and put it under what's called live cell microscopy or dark field microscopy, and we would look at the movement. We would look at the Brownian movement of all the little tiny molecules that are moving in suspension in the plasma and between the red blood cells. And sometimes if you were lucky, you could actually see a parasite swim through. And if you're lucky enough to have that's actually not lucky, but it's pretty interesting to see something swim through your bloodstream, and that it's actually a pretty common occurrence. You would see yeast in the blood and all types of things. You'd see white blood cells literally reach out and phagocytize or eat bacterium or funguses or parasites in the bloodstream. And somehow we just sit here and the river flows, and while you watch this video in your body, your blood is pumping, and inside of that pumping of the heart is all of this living, breathing life, white blood cells and red blood cells, and the oxygenation of those red blood cells, and the connection to your lungs, just like the trees here. And so really I just wanted to remind you today that what you see as the air is teeming with life. The water you drink is teeming with life. I would take that same microscope and put a drop of water on a slide, and you'd look at all the millions of little organisms. If you saw it, you would be absolutely amazed. But all of the millions of organisms that make up our water, we're drinking life, we're breathing life, we're eating life, and all the bacterium and all the other things that are living in the soil and even in the food that you eat. And that if you're feeling in your life really unmagical, you're feeling very, very hung up and busy, and you're in your day-to-day, and we're in a car and we're driving around and we swat the fly and we kill the fly, that, if you stop and take a moment, and my favorite places to do it is to get out into nature, you'll be able to get quiet and begin to hear nature speak. And to connect with nature is to really connect and divine and sit with yourself, because you can't really be with nature without listening. You can go through, a lot of people come through, they take pictures, they take Instagram stuff, they post stuff to Facebook, but they never actually sit and get quiet. And if you'll get quiet in your life and recognize it's all living, it's all breathing, it's all teeming with life, just like all the many towns and cities and villages and jungles all over the world has its own form of life form. It has its own form of culture, own form of society. That in this thing that we call planet Earth, that there's an opportunity for you to remember the beauty, the divinity of how all things are living and breathing. You're ingesting living, breathing things, and from that miracle that the science books and guidance physiology and medical school and all the doctoring stuff I did does not share with or look at. We dissect it. We take an insect, and the first thing in biology is we break it down, and we take its wings and we look at its larva, and we break it down and we separate human biology from the natural world biology, and that we are part of that. So if you're feeling really just bored and feeling uninspired and you want to create something new, make a change in your life, I feel one of the greatest things we can do is just sit and listen, and sit like a child and wonder at the absolute beauty, the absolute teeming of life beauty that is available for all of us, and we just forget with the constant amount of stimulation that we're getting from technology. So I encourage you to take some time, and if you're in a city and you can't get out into nature, then just sit on your couch, sit on a chair, lay on the floor, and take a moment to remember all the winged ones and all the tiny trillions of feet that walk the earth, that were long here before man. And it's been for me a real remedy for loneliness and boredom and feeling a sense of non-profundity. And I just encourage you to do that, because that is where we can really connect with the miracle that life is, not only in our own blood, a drop of blood, or the insect, or the drop of water on the back of a leaf here in nature that has an entire universe swimming inside of it, just like our earth is swimming inside of an infinite universe. It's time you shake it up. It's time you sit with this. It's time you revel in the beauty and gratitude and praise for just being alive. And if you don't have gratitude and praise and beauty and just being alive, that is your sign. That is your signal to move more towards that and start to say, what is going to remind me that I am so alive, that I can create anything I want? Because that's what nature does. It just creates, as the seeds are dropped, it creates where it's at, just the full expression of itself. And that is the work we are to do, is to work ourselves back to being in reverence with this beauty. I love you, and I will be talking to you soon. If this video was inspiring and empowering, make sure you share it with someone you love, like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss a single thing, and I will see you in the next video.